Right.
I'm on a rest.
Steve's here
I'm on a rest.
to tell us about his scary incident he had. I think it was last week, wasn't it?
Last Tuesday evening.
Yeah.
Tuesday evening and Wednesday morning.
So tell us what happened. Starting from Tuesday evening, walking home from work, wasn't it?
Yeah, just on my way home. 10 o'clock we finish. And I always cut through the Dene because it's a little bit quicker. And it was a misty, damp evening. And I was just walking up the path which crosses past the old school. And there was one massive crash in the trees. Frightened the stuffing out of us. And automatically, straight afterwards, there was another big crash. Like something heavy was either walking alongside amongst the trees, or something had just crashed amongst the trees. And I almost jumped out my skin. And I tried to see what was going on, and you just couldn't see a thing because it was too misty. And I just kind of backed off, because normally I'll walk around the path around the side of the thing, and I was like, I'm not going up there. But there was a couple of paths that would take you directly away from it into the housing estate. So I kind of like backed up for a couple of seconds just in case something emerged from the trees, or I heard the sound again. And I kept glancing to see if I could see anything while I was heading towards the houses, because there was very little lighting. As you walk around the Dene, you might get a light with a little bit of
There's no traffic, there's no lamppost, is there?
No, and then there might be another lamppost for about another 100 yards.
So did it sound like somebody was running?
No, it just sounded like two
big
heavy footsteps, like somebody had stood on quite a thick branch or something, and it had just cracked it. Or it just sounded like it wasn't like a hit on the tree, but it sounded more like something that had been stood onto me. But it wasn't just like walking through the leaves, because that you would have heard it, but this was loud. The first time I heard it, I literally jumped out my skin, and it was like bang bang straight away, and then all went quiet, and that's when I got me. I had the initial shock, and I just got myself ready, thinking somebody's going to walk out here and maybe try and jump us. Or during the day, you'll always see people on it, just about all the time.
But at that time of night, nobody. You're probably the only person that's
very
past there.
Very few people, yeah. And like you say, it's just I don't know why somebody would just stand there in the dark, in the mist and fog, in the dreary,
just hoping somebody was going to walk past.
Yeah, and even if just to make a couple of noises, just to frighten the crap out of somebody.
Right.
Because as I was walking back away towards the houses, I kept looking back to see if anything I could make anything out, but just unbelievably dark. I literally couldn't see until I got closer to the street where you get more light. You literally couldn't see 5 yards in front of you. Mm-hmm. So there was no chance of seeing anything in that tree line. Right. But it was so loud, and it only happened twice, back to back, like, and I was like straight into fight or flight mode, and I was like, I've got to kind of like be facing the direction of this noise, because initially I was thinking somebody's just going to come out and just like try and have a go or something like that. But as I got further back, it was dead quiet again, and I still never saw anybody. I mean, I walked when I left the area and went through the street to take me back onto the path I normally walk, and I kept looking back until I got to the street, and it was just nothing was happening. And I just carried on home that night, and I was like, what the hell was it? and I was thinking, surely it was like a tree, but I was thinking, no, it's just a tree that's crashed down. But anyway, when I got up the next day, I'm normally in at work on the Wednesday morning, but I had the day off, so I got up a little bit later, just had a cup of tea, got washed and all that, and I was already planning to go down the town later that day, and I was like, no, I'm gonna go down now because I want to have a look at it, see what's if there's a big branch or there's a tree's like got a crack in it. I'll be like, oh well, that's all it was. It was just something happened in the tree line, and I just happened to be in the place that at the time it happened. So I walked my normal way because it was daylight. I was thinking I wasn't expecting nothing. It's just an ordinary walk along the path again to the town centre. So what I decided I was going to do when I got close to where it happened, I was going to slow down, and I was going to keep walking at a slow pace, but I was going to turn my head. So even though I was walking on the path in one direction, I had my head turned, so I was looking at the tree line.
Yeah.
And I got close to where it happened, and then there's a little area where the tree line like opens up slightly, and you've got a tree to your left and you've got a tree to your right, and I just saw this black shape figure just standing there.
How far off the path was that? Was it just as you
yards, literally yards? I reckon now.
Just as you go into the tree line.
Yeah, probably 3 steps, because like I said,
that's very close.
This was all, yeah.
Literally two steps away. That's very close.
And
but could you make it out? Any sort
yes, I saw. All this only lasted probably 2 seconds maximum. But initially, I got this split-second glimpse. I just saw a big dark shadow standing there, and then my eyes kind of like fixed on like the lower leg, because I've just been thinking about this the other day. I was like, the feet weren't visible, but it was dry, so it might have been it probably was overcast, but it was 10:15 in the morning, so it was nice and bright, and this figure was only a couple of yards, 2 or 3 yards at the most away from us. So I would imagine I would be able to make it, if I put you in the tree line where it was, I would imagine if I walked past, even if I just walked past at the same pace, I would see you standing there, and I'll be able to make out your face, your jacket, your clothes. But this thing was just,
and it was
black.
It was like, it wasn't like it was like a 2-3-dimensional. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yes. All intents and purposes, it was just. It was definitely a figure, yeah.
But
it wasn't like
just black.
Yeah, it wasn't like a cutout, like a cardboard cutout. It wasn't like that, where you can tell straight away because it's got no definition, and it's just. This was like, it was a figure. It had like mass to it, but it never moved. It never made a sound. And I walked. So after I started walking backwards, I got about 10-15 yards away. Nothing had happened, nothing had paid out, nothing had walked out. So then I kind of switched to walking sideways for a few steps, just to get, because as I was getting further away, I'm obviously getting closer to the main road. And when I just got past, there's a junction that goes down into the Dene, and there's our old school. Just as I got to the old entrance to the old school, you can see the road from there. So I was kind of like sideways walking, still looking back, and then when I was almost about 10 yards away from the road, I turned and walked back, because it never even entered my mind to go back and just get a second look at this. I was like, I was initially just in shock, and then.
So did you walk that way back?
No.
When you'd been to the town? No, I went to the. You didn't want to go that way.
I got onto the main road, across the road, because I was going to go to the shop. I went to the shop, and as I was coming out of the shop, I was saying to myself, am I going back that way, or am I just going to go up by the far side of the school to the roundabout and then just walk up the main road, which takes me straight up to home. And I crossed the road, not knowing what I was going to do. And then when I crossed the road, I kind of like looked into the Dene to the path going that way, and I just thought, I'm not walking past there. I'm going
The long way around.
I'm going back round the side of the school and the top of the school.
Bear in mind it was daylight. There was nobody else walking up that path.
On the way
Where
down,
you thought, well, somebody's walking up there, I might go that way.
well, no, on the way down there wasn't a single person, but on the way back, somebody started walking into the same path going past. But I still decided, no, I'm not going to do it. And as I was walking off in the opposite direction, if you walk straight up to the junction and then you come back across, you come to the top of the street there where the path brings you back down. And I got passing around there, and I thought, I'm going to hurry up round to see, because I was thinking if there is somebody there, this person might like jump out, because the person I saw walk down the path was a woman. And I thought, I better just scurry back round to the top of the street, because you can stand on the path without going back down into the path that takes you past this area, and you can see. So I got round to the top thinking I better be there just in case something does happen. And anyway, I saw this lady on the opposite side of the street walking up, so I thought, oh well, fair enough, she's just walked round, and it's just been a normal like walk for her on her way back home. But I decided to walk down to the path, and I was like, I was just going to stand at the area where you come back out of the houses. So you've got a path, and somebody had told me before that they had seen deer in the woods. I've never seen a deer in the woods myself, in the Dene myself, but I've heard of people seeing it. But then I thought, no, this, like I say, where it was, there's not enough room for something like that to be walking through, because it's literally on the teetering on the brink of falling into the Dene, and it wouldn't have been that heavy. This was like,
it would have run out anyway from whatever it was. It would have
had to come out, because
it was still. If it had saw you, it would have been off.
It would have had to come out, because it couldn't literally walk alongside it, because there's not enough room.
In the dark, their vision is brilliant, so it would have known you coming.
But I've never, in all the time I've gone that way, I've never seen anything but squirrel or rabbit, little frogs jumping across the path, and that's the only things I've ever seen. So I knew straight away. I says, "Oh, could it be a deer?" And then I was like, "No," because the sound it made, it was 2 steps from. If it was a person, it was 2 steps from a person. It wasn't like a four step from an animal. It was like a steps from a human.
Right.
But that night, I've got no idea, because it was I never saw a thing, and this was. Say 2 crashes, and then it went silent. So it would have almost been like somebody's walked 2 steps and then they've just stopped. But I don't even know if you can go further than 2 steps, because like say this area of the Dene is like just so small of an area between the path and the drop into the Dene. You wouldn't be walking it. It's just it's a place you wouldn't walk.
Right.
But it was definitely.
It
was a shock.
The
first night was a shock, and then I think
very big coincidence.
The following day, you think, well, I've had my shock last night, so this isn't going to happen again, because I wouldn't imagine. There's too many times people have had something happen to them twice because this was literally within the space of 12 hours, and it was like 10:10 at night and 10:15 in the morning, so it was almost like synchronized time from night to day. And so when I got home, I was thinking, you want to come up with the simplest explanation, and the simplest explanation was a tree had come down, but it wasn't a windy night, and we have had trees come down in the Dene a long time ago when we had gale force winds, because a lot of the trees in the Dene close to where this is, all the council came in and they cut a lot of trees down, so most of the damaged trees were already taken down, and the ones that they can't get to are obviously the ones that are in the Dene, and they've just like collapsed in on themselves, or they've collapsed in on something else, and they're just like resting there. And you will see this as you keep walking away, but where this area happened, there's nothing collapsed or newly collapsed or hanging into the pathway or hanging off. So
Fascinating.
but I was still thinking it's got to be a tree crash, but it definitely sounded like it was the heaviest noise.
Even so, though, you saw that figure the next morning.
The next morning,
kind
see,
of-
this is what's got me the next morning, because why would, even if we can say the night before
Crash
was
before, fair enough.
rational,
Could have been.
why would something be in that exact same spot? And I'll go, even though this thing only lasted seconds, I'll go through it in my mind, and it'll be like, it might be like a 30 seconds to a minute, as it's going through my mind in slow motion. But now I'm like, now it's over with, I'm fine, and I'm not, like I say, I'll go past that area, and I'll still go past that area in daylight. So it hasn't got to me where I'm just going to avoid this area altogether. But I'm going to admit, I will not go back there for the foreseeable future in the dark when I'm finished work. I will cut the shortcut off. But during the day, because the chances of this occurring again, I would say, are almost non-existent, and there'll always be somebody else on the path, or very rarely will there be nobody on the path, because two coincidences I did notice. The morning it happened, the path, I did not pass anybody coming towards me. I did not have anybody ahead of me I was following, and there was nobody behind me. Like, you'll see dog walkers almost any time you go along that path. You'll see dog walkers, or you'll see people going to the town centre, because the town centre is literally 5 minutes away from where this happened. So there's generally people passing, at least one person will pass you, and this time on the Wednesday morning, not a single person was on that path. And when I went back down on the Friday on the way to work as well, not a single person was on that road, because on the Friday when I went to work, I was going to have another quick look and possibly see if I could spot anything on the Friday. And as I got to the end of the street where you come out onto the path, there was a bunch of crows on a roof, and they were just making a lot of noise, just squawking and crowing away. And as soon as I walked to the area where they were, they shut up. And then I carried on walking, and I didn't hear it was almost like the night before, I didn't hear a single thing. But I didn't like pick up on any kind of fright. I had no bother that I was walking towards this area again. I had a quick look round. I never saw anything. I had a look to see if there was like a footprint or some marks there, but the undergrowth is just so thick, it's like you wouldn't be able to see a thing. And I just had a quick look to make sure there was nothing, like a big thick branch that had been snapped in half on the floor in this area, and there was nothing. And then I walked away, and as I got to the junction where the road splits off into the Dene again, a bunch of crows started crowing again. And I was like, it's probably just coincidence, but when I was in that vicinity, everything went quiet again, but I never saw anything, I never felt anything, I never had any concern about anything. And that night when I finished work, I already made my mind up I wasn't going through the Dene. So, and I haven't been back since. No, till I went past on Sunday when I went to work, and I walked past it on the way down, and I've never walked past it on the way back, because obviously I jumped on the bus and came through Newcastle. But it was just, I can't fathom why it would be a person, because they had the perfect, if it was somebody standing there, they had two perfect opportunities, because I was on my own. there was nobody else around. It had definitely had the chance and the opportunity to come out if it was somebody who was up to no good. And both times, this first time I never saw anything, and the second time this thing never moved, and I never saw it try to make a move, and it was quiet, and it was just so weird.
Yeah. It's definitely out of the ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that. Right, great. Oh, well, at least we've got that down. Any follow-ups, we'll let you know.
Yeah,
Thank
I'll
you.
keep in touch if anything happens, but
Yeah,
I'm
great.
hoping nothing does.
We've got some videos that we'll try and put together.
Well, I've made a short
this.
I've made a short interview with a podcaster as well, and he's going to edit it, and he's going to let us listen to it, and then he's told me it's up to me to decide if I want to let it go out online, but obviously I'll make that decision once we've heard it.
Right, great, excellent, thank you. 35 minutes.
How long?
35 minutes.
Jesus, why you call yesterday?